Good afternoon, everybody, and hearty greetings to all of you on behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I am Devashish Mitra, President of the Institute. To my right is Sanjay Agarwal, the Chairman of the PR Committee of the Institute. To his right is Sanjeev Singhal. He chairs our Sustainable Reporting Standards Board, as well as our Audit and Assurance Standards Board. And to my left is the Honorable Vice President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Aniket Talati. Let me first of all once again welcome all of you in our midst for this interaction. First of all, a few words about the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Many of you must be aware of the institute, but for those of us who are not aware of what it is, I'd just like to say that we have been set up under an Act of Parliament on the 1st of July 1949. We are not an association. So we have been set up under an Act of Parliament. Today we are the second largest accounting body in the world. And you see, our membership strength hovers around 350,000. The total student strength hovers around 750,000. In India, we have 164 branches and 5 regional councils. I think we have more than 90 premises in India. About 150, IT labs in India. And our footprints are not only in India, but beyond the frontiers of the country, in the sense that we have today 44 overseas chapters, 29 overseas representative offices, and we are present in 47 countries of the world and 73 cities of the world. So that is we have over a period of time become a huge monolith organization. And we believe that our motto should be a partner in nation building. That is something not only is a core belief, but the former President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam, that is what he said, described us when he was live, while speaking at a conference. He said, "You all people, the chartered accountants, are partners in nation building." And we have been so from the very beginning, and we take pride in having this whole concept of nation first and being a partner in nation building. Some of the initiatives of the Institute in recent times. Let me tell you, first of all, we are now, first of all, talking about quality of our assurance service. Many of you will be bothered that, what is the quality of assurance service that is provided by chartered accountants? First of all, let me just tell you, we have to my right, Sanjeev Singhal. He chairs the Audit and Assurance Standards Board. Now, at the Audit and Assurance Standards Board, we are developing these auditing standards. There are 46 auditing standards, and these standards have got recognition under the Companies Act. And, and these standards are conversed with the international standards, except one, that is SS 600, except that almost all the standards are totally conversed with the international standards. Now, when we're talking about audit quality, when Sanjeev Singhal works hard on these standards, he also works on Sustainable Reporting Standards Board, but about that I'll come later. We have a Center for Audit Quality based out of Jaipur. We have a Center of Excellence. We have 2 centers of excellence today, one in Jaipur, one in Hyderabad. So, we have a Center for Audit Quality based out of Jaipur. Now, what does the center do? Now, the center is, only researching on audit quality. Over a period of time, we have developed this audit quality indicators. These are self-evaluation questions. You ask yourself that, have I done this? Have I done this? Have I done this? And then you ask yourself, how good is my audit quality? Along with that, we have got the audit quality maturity model. So how mature a firm is vis-a-vis audit quality. So at the Institute, we are doing everything possible to see that the audit quality of the membership is never ever compromised, because we believe that if our quality is of extreme high standard, we will remain relevant, will remain important, and work will come to us, come to the membership automatically. That's what our strong belief is. So that is about audit quality. Now we have something called peer review board. And peer review board is something very unique. One of the papers which was taking my interview sometime back in Calcutta, they were asking that which is the area in which you would like to speak. And I was very surprised. He himself said, would you like to speak on peer review? And I said that certainly yes. Now, peer review is something very basic. Like, see, I and the vice president. Now, vice president runs a big firm. The vice president would like to know, is my firm complying with all the technical standards? Is my firm complying with all the auditing standards? How good is my firm in complying with the standard for quality control, SQC we call it? Now, he can do it by using the audit quality indicators that I just now spoke about. Or he will go for the peer review mechanism. Now, the peer review mechanism means I am a peer reviewer, registered peer reviewer at the institute. I go and review his firm and say, take some of his audit on a test basis and find out to what extent he has been successful in complying with these technical standards. To what extent he has been successful in complying with the audit and assurance standards. How good he has been in maintaining the quality of audit. So that's what I do. And that's what the peer review board does. Now, whatever we did, that is to be recommendatory earlier, not mandatory. Now, over the period of time, we thought that, it makes great sense to make it mandatory. Now, from 1st of April 2022, we have made it mandatory. We are first of all saying the peer review will be done of those companies which are, doing the audit of public listed entities. Right. So, for example, a listed company, public interest entities, for example, which is a listed company. We'll go for those kind of companies for peer review at the beginning. And that way, as years go by, we hope to cover almost all the companies and we hope to do, almost all the firms. And we hope to do this in a period of 4 years. That's what we hope to do. So, peer review is something very unique to the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Many of you cover various institutes, but you will not find this system of peer review that we have today. So that is very, very important for us. Let me now come to the area called peer review. And peer review is over a period of time. Let me just give you some kind of statistics. From 1/4/2021 to 17/3/2022, 1,170 firms were peer reviewed. And mind you, these were all voluntary peer reviews. So they were all peer reviewed. Right? Then what we have next is the financial review board. Right? So this financial reviewing is extremely, extremely important. The vice president was the chairman of the financial FRRB, we call it, very fondly we call it FRRB. So, what it does is it picks up financial statements of big companies. And then it goes for a review that to what extent the audit done for this kind of financial statements have been up to the mark. And the review that, as the chairman here did, he was helped by a lot of the best minds in the accounting profession. And when he did the review, if he found out that, in the case of certain audits, and please note, this is totally internal and voluntary mechanism. Nobody forces us to do it. Nobody forces us to do it. And we have in this, I think SEBI representatives also. We have also in this FRRB, we have the SEBI representatives also. We have representatives from outside bodies in this FRRB. And in the last year, let me just tell you, we had gone for, during the last 3 years, 168 enterprises were reviewed. Last 3 years, 168 enterprises were reviewed. And out of this, we have had a lot of cases which were referred to the director discipline for disciplinary action. Because we felt that, whatever the audit, the quality of audit has been done, that was simply not up to standard. There were cases when advisories were issued. Right. So we said that, all right, we will not put you through the disciplinary mechanism, but we are going to issue you advisories that on these areas you do better. Right. So that is what, we have been trying to do. So that is, about FRRB. That is about peer review. Now let me come to another area. Since I see him and he has to go for another meeting, sustainability reporting standards. Very important. Sustainability reporting standards. Today in the morning, we had a meeting with the Honorable MP, Jain Sinha. Right. So we got to talking. He was saying, what are you doing in recent times? So we said that, sir, one of the areas that we are doing is, doing a lot of research on the sustainability reporting. Right. So he's developed the sustainability reporting standards. We are one of the first institutes in the world, one of the first, to have developed the sustainability reporting standards. And the Sustainable Reporting Standards Board works, very, very well. And it has, over a period of time, got great recognition. Today, and let me just explain to you what does it do. It basically looks after the non-financial reporting. I think all of us, we are aware that, as chartered accountants, that we are only dealing with profits, losses. But this board says that no. Only one P is not enough. You have to go for 3 Ps. That is profit, people, and planet. And this board talks about environment. This board talks about carbon emission. They are trying to, they are saying that can we have a guidance note on carbon emission? And today Jain Sinha was telling us that you guys in the long run will have to do an audit about carbon emission. That's what he was telling us. Climate change, this board talks about that. So profit, people, planet, so important. Many of us, we are aware of ESG, environment, society and governance. This board also talks about that, ESG. So it talks about that. Let me tell you, SEBI is now developing a social stock exchange, Securities and Exchange Board of India. And now here, we had a meeting the other day with the executive director of SEBI, in which I, the vice president, Sanjeev Singhal, so many of us were present. They were saying, can you develop the social audit standards for us? And we said, why not? These are something that is, very, very new, but things with which the institute would like to associate itself. So sustainability reporting standards is extremely, extremely important for us. This board, Sustainability Reporting Standards Board, is very important. We were both very impressed with Mr. Sinha when we spoke to him in the morning. And he was saying, we said, sir, can you come and address the council? And he said, I will come and address the council, provided you ask me to talk about climate change. Provided you ask me to talk about sustainability. So, sustainability has become so important. Yesterday I was in Ahmedabad. There also, and we were with the chief minister there yesterday. And there also we were talking about sustainability. Right? So it has become so important, and the institute takes pride in being a leader in this area. We are trying our best that we should be a leader in this area. Next, I come to technology. The changes in technology, and all of us who are covering this, the changes that is taking place. The changes in technology has been immense in recent times. At the institute, we think that the technological changes will not be a disruptor. It should be treated as an enabler. Right? So, last time Sanjeev Singhal had this whole idea, and along with the help of this gentleman, and I'll talk about this gentleman, what he does a bit later, to have this audit tools developed so that we can give it to all the chartered accountants free of cost. And then the chartered accountants can know the latest that is happening on the auditing front by using technology. Today, we have a separate board called Digital Accounting and Assurance Standards Board, which does a lot of work on artificial intelligence, which does a lot of work on blockchain, which does, a lot of work on data analytics, cyber security, all these areas, this board does a lot of work. And we are pushing the board towards, doing all this work, because we believe that if we are at pace with technological changes, we'll remain relevant. So at the institute, we are, doing everything possible to keep pace with all the technological changes that is taking place around us. We believe that in the future, with the coming into place of artificial intelligence, blockchain, etc. Today we do test check. Tomorrow we might be expected to do 100% checking, because the technology will simply overpower us. And let me tell you, when the use of technology, I was talking about this gentleman to my left, the Honorable Vice President of the Institute, Aniket Tarati. What he's trying to do is introduce ERP in the institute. Right, so he's trying to introduce ERP in the institute. Today, if you want to, upload your, membership details, if you want to have a change in your membership or the details of your firm, the student wants to get himself registered, we have a separate portal called Self-Service Portal, SSP. Aniket Talati has been one of the drivers of that portal. Now, imagine a situation during the corona, during the 2 years, when we could not physically meet. How would a member pay his fees? Or forget about the fees. If the member wanted to have a change in the constitution of his firm, how would he do it? So, this SSP portal, which was driven by Aniket Talati, it worked wonders for us. A member could make all the changes that he wanted sitting in his room, sitting at his house, he could make. When we did this in the initial stages, there were some problems, but now almost, I think we are 99%, free of problems, 1% problems here and there are there. But the point I'm trying to make is, we are adapting technology. Even at the institute, we are doing everything possible to adopt the best that is there. Many of us would say that, you give a true and fair view. You do not catch frauds. What is the use of you giving a true and fair view? So at the institute, we believe that in the long run, forensic will be an area of great importance. Very great importance. So what we have done is, we have developed 23 forensic audit standards, 23 of them. 23 forensic. This is unique to the institute, let me tell you. And we are now, these are all recommendatory in nature. We are trying our best to see that these standards, are very well respected. And the membership, when they do forensic audit, they go by these standards and ensure that the quality of forensic audit is of the highest standard. So, at the institute, we believe that in the long run, fraud, the way we detect frauds, the way the auditors report on fraud will be a very, very important area. You will be noting that, there is already a section in the Companies Act, Section 143, subsection 12, which talks about fraud, which talks about reporting for fraud. And we have issued a guidance note on that section, 143, subsection 12, on guidance note on this section. When he does Audit and Assurance Standards Board, when he's chairing that, he talks about a separate standard, audit and assurance standard on fraud called SA 240. So that standard, which has been there for a long time, also talks about fraud. The definition of fraud as carried in that standard, when the Companies Act 2013 came into being, they started defining what is a fraud. But then we had defined a fraud in our auditing standard much before that, SA 240. So that is how we are being ahead of times, trying to be as good and trying to be in tandem with the changes as much as possible. Let me also tell you, now I'm going back to a bit of, the areas which are of importance, which are of traditional areas. The other day, I was talking to both of us, we were there in Hyderabad. We were talking to the acting chairperson of IRDA, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority. And we said that insurance companies will also have to, go for IND-AS. IND-AS, is the standard, the accounting standard or framework for preparation of accounts, which now companies which are public interest entities have to adopt. Insurance and banking companies are yet to adopt IND-AS. But we said that, look, we have developed the IND-AS, and would you not want us to help you in implementing it? They said that, immediately you have a joint working committee, working groups, so that, we can do everything possible for the development of IND-AS. So, as long as IND-AS is concerned, earlier I spoke to you about auditing standards. As long as the accounting standards are concerned, we are also the leaders. We are also the leaders. I will tell you, told you that, today in the morning we both met Mr. Sinha. Then after that, what was happening was, the Corporate Law and Corporate Governance Committee was having a training program for the independent directors of PSUs, the public sector units. We do this, there were so many independent directors, and the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has taken upon itself the role of training these independent directors. You'll be very surprised that about 15 days back, we had a similar training program for SFIO. Serious Fraud Investigation Office, telling them, training them about the latest that is happening on the India's front. So that is how we are trying to see that, we remain relevant, and we do everything possible to see that, our efforts gives benefit to those who would like to take our services. But I would again like to repeat myself that, we have been set up under an Act of Parliament, 1st of July 1949. We are not an association, not a club. So that is, that those aspects are very, very important for us. I spoke to you about the forensic audit and all the changes. Another area that many of you are concerned about is the disciplinary. And what is happening on that front. Some of you say that maybe the institute is a bit slow in the disciplinary side. The CA bill is there. So they are talking about the disciplinary side. Why did the CA bill come? Those kind of questions you might ask. The chairman of the public relations, when he was developing this paper, he got some very significant details, which when I saw it, I found it very interesting. The details was, from 2007 till February 2022, there were 5,873 disciplinary cases registered with the institute. 5,873. Total cases concluded was 3,849. Total cases which are at a pre-PFO, PFO is prima facie opinion, 411. And where cases that were PFO, prima facie opinion was formed was 717. So, the point I'm trying to say is this about we have a disposal, this thing of 65.54%. 5873 cases during this period, 2007 to 2022, we disposed of 3849, about 65.54%. Today, let me tell you, just before we came, Sanjay Bhai, the Honorable Vice President, Sanjeev Singhal, we were all, busy in a meeting. What the meeting was, the government has recently appointed the government nominees for the DCs. We have 4 DC benches and 1 board of discipline. And we wanted to have, and many of these people, they are of the level of deputy CAG. So these people who have been appointed in the disciplinary committee. I was looking at their profiles. They are very well placed. Some of them have been former chairperson of CBDT. This is the kind of profile of people who are government nominees. And let me speak a bit about DC. The DC has 5 members, disciplinary committee, out of which 3 are the Central Council members and 2 are government nominees. Now, these government nominees have been newly appointed for 3 years. The government nominees are appointed for every 3 years. So we have a new set of government nominees, and we are having an orientation program for them today in the morning. And we told them the latest. And when I was addressing them, I was saying that this is my 7th year in DC, disciplinary. And I said in my 7 years, there has been never a situation where we went for a vote in the disciplinary committee. That is, where we said that, look, told the government nominees, you want to hold this guy guilty, but we think he is not guilty. The government nominee still says, no, we think he is guilty. Then, in that case, if I go for a vote, since I have 3 people in my side, I will always win by a majority. But we have never, ever gone for a vote. That is what, if the government nominee said guilty, if we don't agree, we'll try to convince him. If he's still not convinced, we'll say, sir, guilty in that case. That is how, the institute functions, and that's how it is. Then, next, suppose Sanjay Agarwal ji, he is, suppose, sitting in the DC. Now, he is from the northern region. You might say that there is a conflict of interest because the person whose case he is hearing might have voted for him. Because, after all of us are elected members. So that thing might have come to your mind that this is a conflict. How will it deal with a matter of disciplinary case against a person who might have voted for him? So what we have done is, when Sanjay Agarwal sits in the DC, he does not deal with any cases of the northern region. When I sit in the DC, I do not deal with any case of the eastern region. When he sits in the DC, Aniket Talati, he does not deal with any case of the western region. So that is how we keep the conflict totally out. So as I said, 2 points You see, we never go against the government nominees. Whatever, you see, if they're saying their words are final. So consequently, those of us who have this, idea that maybe the DC system in the institute does not work well, or why the CA amendment bill is coming, those kind of questions, and I'm sure some of you could ask the questions. I will only like to say that the DC system, according to us, and today when we are speaking, it works well. What we are trying to do is make the things go faster. I think there is a scope that to make the whole mechanism work faster. And when the new CA amendment bill says that you go for the time-bound DC system, we agree with them. We say that, yes, that is right, and we will try to do it in a more time-bound manner. That's what we'll try our best to do it. Fraud reporting, I have already said, and we are taking a lot of stress telling our membership that in the end, if you are going to turn a blind eye to fraud, is going to be disastrous for us. Because if a company fails, and if it is found that there was a big fraud, and if a chartered accountant or if an auditor has turned a blind eye to that, then it affects the profession totally, affects the profession adversely. So we have been sensitizing the profession. Now the bank audit is going to be started from 1st of April. Audit and Assurance Standards Board, the Professional Development Committee, all of us. We are trying our best to, tell the auditors that what is paramount is the quality of audit. Yesterday, I was speaking to all the central statutory auditors of all the public sector banks. And I was telling them that, it is very, very important that whatever happens, quality of audit is never compromised. Because in our signature, it is very important that when you sign a report and say true and fair, that report is right because to a great extent, the efficacy and the efficiency and the way a banking system operates to a great extent, that is dependent on how the auditor has appointed, how the auditor has carried out the audit, and to what extent that certificate that he gives as true and fair is actually true and fair. So we are telling all our chartered accountants that please, please, please go ahead and do the audit with the best of quality. Right, so yesterday that was the message that I gave to I and the Honorable Vice President. We were all speaking to all the central statutory auditors, and we said that quality must never ever be compromised. So that's what we are saying. Coming to more traditional areas, indirect tax, GST. Now when GST was introduced, let me tell you, most of us, including myself, we were all direct tax professionals in the sense that we would all do income tax. We were all direct tax professionals. When GST was introduced in 2017, and by the way, GST was introduced before the whole country from the platform of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Delhi. At that time, most of us were direct tax, the practitioners were direct tax professionals. What we did, we saw an opportunity in GST. Overnight, we adapted ourselves. We became indirect tax professionals. And today, if you see, the best of publications on GST are done by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. The maximum training on GST has been done by our institute. And it has been recognized by the Honorable Prime Minister when he wrote a letter to the then president of the institute, saying that the contribution of chartered accountants to the success of GST has been immense. When I was speaking about, taxation, technology, Sanjay Bhai, he chairs the International Tax Committee. Now, or we have the Direct Tax Committee. Now, suddenly what has happened? Earlier, all the income tax assessments would be in person. If I have to go for income tax assessment, then if Sanjeev Singhal is the income tax officer, I will go and meet him and say, sir, these are the facts of the case. He will tell me that, okay, all right, you get me these details. Then I will try to convince him and then get an assessment done. Suddenly what we have, this thing is, we face a situation of faceless assessment. That is, The SSC does not know who exactly is his income tax officer and where exactly he is based. Because I have to submit all my papers online. Technology has suddenly taken over. That's why we are telling the profession that technology is going to take over the way we carry out our profession. Now, how the profession has also adapted, people like Sanjay Agarwal, they guide the profession in this way. We are not saying that, look, two things. If you have to face a challenge of faceless, your knowledge level has to be very good, number one. Number two, your drafting skills has to be excellent. And the Direct Tax Committee of the Institute has published so many guidance notes on how to carry out faceless assessments. Two last points before I start taking your questions. Yesterday I was in Ahmedabad and I had a press conference like this. And I was surprised, I and the Honorable Vice President were surprised. So many questions were asked on the future of the profession. That what you are doing for the students. Because I said 750,000 students. Somebody said, are you going to teach them Sanskrit? I said, I cannot answer that question. Right, so you see, what we are doing is, every 10 years we change our syllabus. Right, I can see some of you smiling, but you see, he was so insistent on Sanskrit. And I told the Vice President, you go and talk to him, because he would never give up that subject. He says that you have to tell me that Sanskrit will be introduced in your curriculum. So, you see, usually we change our curriculum every 10 years. This time, we saw that technological changes have been overpowering. There is a greater stress on non-financial areas than financial areas. We found that GST has changed a lot. We found that the national education policy is only talking about application of mind. It is talking about case studies. So once we saw the changes, instead of changing the syllabus in 10 years' time, we are making a change in the 5 years' time. You see, the first draft of the change is there. Now we are going to give it to the Government of India for them to have a look at the change. And then we will go for the public exposure. Give it 45 days for the public exposure. Seek the comments of the public. And then after incorporating the comments of the public, again go back to the Government of India for its approval for the change in the syllabus. The whole idea behind the changes, make our chartered accountants global accountants. He should be so good and we should treat him so well that if he walks in an office in London and says that here I come, a chartered accountant from India, somebody looks at him and says that, how can you help us? And he says that, look, I am good in Ind AS or IFRS. And once he says that, you see, he says, I am good in the auditing standards, which is conversed with the best in the world. Then you see, he's immediately welcomed and he said that, please come and join us. That is what the situation is. We are trying our best to make our chartered accountants, our future, totally global accountants. The last point, before I start taking your question, World Congress of Accountants. World Congress of Accountants is considered to be the Olympic of accountants. It is held once in 4 years. And just like you have to bid in Olympics, we have also, yes, you see, for the World Congress of Accountants, you have to also bid for it. It is held once in 4 years. Last time it was held in Sydney. Before that it was held in Rome. So this time India had bid for it. You see, at the last stage we are bidding with France for this. Thankfully, and it is held under the aegis of IFAC, International Federation of Accountants. So we were given this to be organized in 2022, November 18th to November 21st. And we are going to have it in Mumbai. Because of the COVID, it is a hybrid. First time they are having it a hybrid. In fact, there were a lot of uncertainties that whether it will happen or not. So because of the COVID, it is hybrid. Right? So you see, and the theme of the conference, you see, be again this thing, building trust, enabling sustainability. Again, I come back to sustainability. Building trust, enabling sustainability. That's the theme of the conference. Because, the theme says that without trust, no profession can survive. If your people think that, you see, whatever I'm speaking is not true, then we cannot really survive. because it is trust which is so important. So this is the theme, and it is going to be organized in the I don't know how many of you have seen that, the Geo World Convention Center in Bandrakula complex. That is the Reliance Center. We are expecting about 6,000 to 7,000 members from all over the world physically, and more than 10,000 virtually. The who is who of the world, accountancy world, will come and address. So, you see, we would request all of you to be present in the World Congress of Accountants. And at the Institute, we are the host. For the first time in the more than 72 years history of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, we have been given the responsibility of hosting such a major event. And we are going to take full advantage of this opportunity to really showcase what the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is. And of course, no showcase will be complete without your support. You see, you have to, help us out in this thing, because we'll be not only showcasing the institute, we'll be showcasing the country. That's what we will be doing, right? And before I end, let me tell you, at the institute, we take great pride in being a partner in nation building. And 3 words are very, very important to us. They know both of them, and this gentleman knows what are the 3 words, because I always end with those 3 words: excellence, independence, integrity. You see, these have been there. If you walk the corridors of the institute, you'll find that these words, somehow or the other, they play around in your mind. And these 3 words are so, so important for the future of the profession. So with these words, I thank all of you for a very patient hearing, and I'm open to questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. May I request from this side, you have mics there, office, please provide them the mic. To identify, and you can raise your question if any, otherwise we'll move like this, and then we'll move like this, and thereafter, even still, if some question is coming from all of you, then we'll take those questions. So sir, please, आप कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहें? नेक्स्ट सर,
आप हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हो.
हाँ, हिंदी में भी.
I'll try my best to answer in Hindi, although I am a Bengali. All right. Yeah, boliye. Yes, tell me. Yes, tell me. Okay. Right. The bill, the C amendment bill. Okay. All right. This notice regarding C amendment bill, and this notice to ensure that I do not speak out of turn. So, right, okay. But you see, whatever I say, I think all of you are aware of the answer also. You see, there has been a Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance. The bill was done, and then the bill was sent to a Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance, headed by Jayant Sinha. So it has gone there. And then, please note that the bill is not only for the change of the CA Act, it is also for the change of the Cost Accountancy Act and the Company Secretaries also. It is for all the 3. We were made to make a presentation. We did that about more than a month back. We made a presentation on that. Many of the contents in the bill have been our recommendations only. For example, I'll tell you, we said that take action against the firm. For example, today, we have no power to take action against a firm. We can only take action against an individual, not a firm of chartered accountants. So the bill says that yes, you can take action against a firm. So that is our suggestion. The penal consequences, we said that enhance the penal consequences. And the bill said that all right, we will agree with you, we are going to enhance the penal consequences. So we have made a presentation. We don't know when the standing committee will present this. They are supposed to give it back to the Parliament. So when the standing committee is going to give it back to the Parliament, we are not aware. But we have given the presentation to the best of our ability on this. On some points, we did not agree, right? And see, on many other points, since they had only gone by our suggestions, we said fine. So that's how it is. As long as we are concerned, I think we have completed our presentation before the Honorable Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance.
What are expectations from the bill? One of the main concerns is about having more number of women nominees in the disciplinary committee. And again, if I just go back to what's the board concerns?
All right. So, you see, it is like this. Today, if you see, and if you have heard me right, the disciplinary committee consists of 5. 3 are council members and 2 are government nominees. The presiding officer is a council member, the president of the institute. For example, we have 4 benches today of disciplinary committee. 2 I am presiding as the president, 2 he is presiding as the vice president. Right? And then we have 2 government nominees in every disciplinary committee. And we will, as I said again, we will not go against the opinion of the government nominees. Right? And I will not hear the case from the eastern region. Now, since this is part of in the public domain, what they wanted to do was, they said that no. What you want is, out of this 5, 3 should be total non-chartered accountants. And 2 should be chartered accountants. Right? So our argument was, auditing standards, accounting standards, income tax, GST, these are extremely technical subjects. And when you are giving your order or judgment on this, if you don't have the hold over these subjects, how are you expected to give a fair judgment? That was this thing. We were not against we are part of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. But we just placed this viewpoint, that these 3 gentlemen, whom we respect also whenever, if they come in at all. For example, we have great respect for the 2 government nominees. And these 3 council members who are there, they tell the government nominees ask, hey, what is this accounting standard applicable? The 3 council members would tell him that these are the accounting standards applicable. But our concern was that these 3 people who are total non-chartered accountants, how will they understand the intricacies of accounting standards, auditing standards, Income Tax Act, GST? How will they do it? Right? So that was the concern that we raised before the government. We said that ask the existing government nominees, the ones that you have already, appointed, do they have any kind of grievance against us? If they have grievance against us, if they say that the institute's disciplinary system is not doing well, these guys don't allow us to function, then you do that. Bring in 3. We don't mind. But if they say that things are fine and we have no grievance against the institute's disciplinary system, then if you want to have a change, that is not fair. That is what we have told them in a very polite manner.
Can I move next? Oh, sorry.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So the 3 non-CAs would also be coming as government nominees.
Yes. They are saying the way it is, they are saying that, they will be recommended by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, but subject to the approval of the government. So, indirectly they are all government nominees only, although they will say that they have been recommended by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So, that's how it is. Right? So,
Request is for status quo.
our request is for status quo. Very nice. Our request is for status quo. Because, it has, we believe that it has worked well, and our request is for status quo. Thank you.
Can I move next? Yes. Please identify.
This is Deepak Mandal from New Indian Express. So you talked about non-CAs in the committee, and you said that these are very technical subjects, so you need CA members, more CA members. So what has been your experience so far with the government nominees and non-CA members in the board?
They are very good. Let me tell you, our experience with them has been, because the kind of background, I said that, I don't want to take names. One of the government nominees is a former chairperson of CBDT. So, she can pick up things. Now, if I give her hardcore auditing standards, she will never be in a position to pick up. If I tell her Ind AS 117 applicable for insurance company, so this is the Ind AS. Even for me or Sanjeev Singhal or for Aniket Talati, Ind AS 117 is very difficult to understand. How will she understand? But what happens is this, since the presiding officer is also from the institute and we have been over a period of time taught these subjects, we tell them that this is the way. But without impairing their independence. So I would not say that they have been bad. I would think that they have been very fair in their decision making and they have worked very well you see, for the cause not only of the profession, but for the cause of the nation.
I have another question. You talked
Just I'll add one point. All our technical people are available for their help, or anything if they have query, we give the answer to them also. Yeah.
So I have another question. This is about this 23 forensic standards that you said.
Yes.
What are they? I mean, are these new standards?
Yes, these are all new standards. Something that is unique, developed by the institute, right? So it's unique and original, developed by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Now, I was just telling the Vice President and the others that now it is time that we really focus this. I am very happy that you raised this question, because sometimes, these good things that we do, it gets, in the background, and, more negative news comes in the forefront. So it's been developed. These are unique, and we are going to, we are trying our best to see how we can make it mandatory.
So are firms using these?
Yes,
standards?
many of them are. Forensic audit, for example, insolvency practice. Let me just tell you. In an insolvency case, they will have to go for a forensic. कुछ ना कुछ fraud होते रहता है. अभी when he is going for a forensic, he will like to have a reference. How do I, what should be my standard? And then the forensic standards, they come into play. Right, so.
Thank you. Please identify.
Sure. Hi, sir. This is Manu from ETCFO. Sir, I have a very simple question, which is that there is also a bill proposed in the budget session which talks about banning non-audit work by for statutory auditors. You can hear me, right?
Banning non-audit work, banning for chartered accountants and statutory auditors.
Okay, all right. I have got you. Section 144 of the Companies Act.
Yes. So, sir, I was asking you, what is the ICA's stance on a proposed law that could ban the non-audit services for statutory auditors?
Okay.
And do you have any sort of talks with the MCA, which is finally going to be, introduce the bill? Yeah.
Right. Okay. Very nice. ICI is part of this committee, which is taking a stand on this matter. Let me tell you what is ICI's viewpoint, and then the committee might take a viewpoint which is different. You see, the big Section 144 of the Companies Act, non-audit services that you are talking about, already lays down a list of non-audit services. For example, you cannot do internal audit if you are a statutory auditor. You cannot do accountancy work if you are a statutory auditor. Those kind of things are already listed down in Section 144, saying that these are the banned areas. The issue was, they said that management services is also a banned area. Now, they did not define what was a management service. So a question arose that there are so many chartered accountants which provides taxation consultancy in addition to audit services, assurance services. The question arose before us that do you think that we should ban them from providing taxation consultancy if they are the auditors? Right? So if they do that, the council discussed this matter in great detail about 2 years back. And we said that there is no self-interest or self-review threat on this. And they should be allowed to do this taxation consultancy. But from the reports that we read in the newspapers today, it seems that there is a talk, and it is still inconclusive because I have become the president on February 12th, so I have not attended any of the meetings, so I cannot tell you what happened, but the president is a part of that committee. That for public interest entities, they might like to ban. That is what I read in the papers. But let me tell you, I am just not aware. I have not attended any meeting of the committee, so don't know what exactly is the stand of the committee vis-a-vis Section 144 and vis-a-vis management services.
But sir, as President ICI, you would have certain stance on a law. For instance, if tomorrow the government were to bring a law, would you be for extension of services or like extension of non-audit curbs or banning services or non-audit services, or would you be for it?
You see, as a principle, you ban non-audit services because of the independence. Because to us, I am sure, when I ended my address, I said that independence is very important for us. We are already saying today that, if in the ethical standards, that if you are doing the audit of a company whose turnover exceeds 50 crores, then your non-audit fees should not exceed your audit fees. That is already there, right? CAG also prevents you from doing non-audit services if you are an auditor. Non-audit service means taxation services. The basic crux is the taxation services, let me tell you. That's the basic crux. Since we are part of this committee that the government of India has formed, and if the committee takes a decision, and if you have agreed with the decision of the committee, then whatever the committee says and whatever the changes in the Companies Act that has been brought about, the institute will agree to that.
But sir, if I can just be persistent,
Please.
ICI in principle will be against for a law that could extend the non-audit cups which are prescribed under section 144 or outrightly ban. Is that a correct understanding?
The ICI would be for any kind of changes in section 144, any kind of clarification on the definition of management services, provided it enhances the independence of the audit process. That is
Thank
what
you.
the ICI standard.
Thank you. Sir, you have any question? We have some friends on virtual also. I will take them also here. Please do not worry that we are not seeing you. We'll take the question of everyone if time permits. Yes, sir. Thank you.
सर मैं शैलेश यादव हूँ A9 न्यूज़ एजेंसी से।
हाँ, बोलिए ना।
सर क्रिप्टो को लेके आपका क्या ओपिनियन है? अभी
अच्छा,
कल
चलिए।
एक खबर आई थी कि सेट ऑफ नहीं कर सकते हो आप अपने नुकसान को। दूसरा जो है 1 अप्रैल से जो है इस पे टैक्सेस लगने शुरू हो जाएंगे जो बजट में अनाउंस हुए थे 30%।
देखिए, क्रिप्टो जो है ये अभी भी अनरेगुलेटेड है जैसा स्थिति है, एक्सेप्ट द टैक्सेशन एस्पेक्ट जहां में 30% टैक्स दिया गया इन द बजट दैट इज देयर। वी आर लुकिंग एट इट। हम लोग आईसीआई में क्या कर रहे हैं, हम लोग एक रिसर्च ग्रुप फॉर्म कर रहे हैं। क्रिप्टो बहुत पेचीदा सब्जेक्ट है। हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि इसका अकाउंट्स का क्या इंप्लीकेशन हो सकता है, इसको ऑडिट कैसे किया जा सकता है, और इसका टैक्सेशन इंप्लीकेशन क्या हो सकता है। ये जो आप बोल रहे हैं ना, ये 30% टैक्स है, इसका क्या है, तो हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि ये तीनों चीज का ऊपर में इंप्लीकेशन क्या हो सकता है। वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू आंसर योर क्वेश्चन अक्रॉस द बोर्ड। ये जो है आपका ये रिसर्च पेपर जब रेडी हो जाएगा, हम लोग इसको गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को दे देंगे। इट विल टेक अस अबाउट अ मंथ और मंथ एंड हाफ टू डू द रिसर्च पेपर एंड देन वी प्रपोज टू गिव इट, राइट। सो आईसीआई मैं बोलता हूं इज वेरी मच सीज्ड ऑफ द मैटर ऑफ क्रिप्टो। इनफैक्ट हम ये भी देख रहे हैं, बिकॉज क्रिप्टो आपका ब्लॉकचेन के बिना क्रिप्टो सक्सेसफुल नहीं होगा। ब्लॉकचेन के साथ में क्रिप्टो का क्या संबंध है, ये भी हम लोग देख रहे हैं उसमें। हाँ, तो दीज एरियाज वी आर लुकिंग इनटू इट एंड ट्राइंग टू सी हाउ वी कैन डू।
कैन आई मूव नेक्स्ट सर?
सर एक सवाल और है।
बोलिए ना।
फ्रॉड हो रहे हैं बहुत ज्यादा, डेली कहीं न कहीं खबर आती है कि यहाँ पे पकड़े गए, कुछ लोग गिरफ्तार हुए। इसमें साल अगर हम देखें तो इसमें सीएस की क्या इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, और दूसरा जो है कोई एडवाइजरी आपने इशू करा है अपने मेंबर्स को?
देखिए, ऐसा है कि ये जो कभी कभी जो न्यूज आता है ना कि ये सीए पकड़े गए, हम लोग जो छानबीन करते हैं तो देखते हैं ये सीए है ही नहीं, ये नॉन सीए है। अभी आपका इसे सीए पकड़ा जाने का न्यूज सबसे ज्यादा सनसनी होता है और सब कैरी करते हैं, और हम लोग को बहुत दुख होता है कि जब आप कैरी करते हैं ना ये सब न्यूज विदाउट वेरिफिकेशन, तो क्या होता है कि हम लोग का प्रोफेशन के इमेज के ऊपर में भी बहुत असर पड़ता है। बट अगर सीए ने गलती किया और अगर उसको सही पकड़ा गया, तो इंस्टीट्यूट का जो डिसिप्लिनरी मैकेनिज्म है ना उसको छोड़ेगा नहीं, उसको छोड़ेगा नहीं। बिकॉज हम लोग सोचते हैं कि उसको अगर छोड़ दें तो इंस्टीट्यूट का जो फ्यूचर है और फ्यूचर में एडवर्स इफेक्ट हो सकता है। बिकॉज आप लोग से कोई भी चीज छुपा नहीं रहता है, आप लोग को सब पता है कि क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा है। हम लोग उसको अगर छोड़ दें तो उसी आप लोग का जो व्यू पॉइंट होगा प्रोफेशन के प्रति वो सही नहीं होगा। बट एट द सेम टाइम लेट मी टेल यू, डोंट पेंट ऑल ऑफ अस विद द सेम ब्रश। कभी कभी आप लोग क्या सोचते हो कि ये सब सीए जो है ना गड़बड़ करते रहते हैं, ये गलत है, और डोंट पेंट एवरीबॉडी विद द सेम ब्रश। तो इसी देयर आर एक्सीलेंट चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स अमंगस्ट अस। ये जो सोशल ऑडिट स्टैंडर्ड्स जो मैं बोल रहा था, ये कौन बनाएगा? इंडियस कौन बनाएगा? ऑडिट एंड एश्योरेंस स्टैंडर्ड्स कौन बनाएगा? हम लोग के बीच में इतना जबरदस्त सब ब्रेन्स है, इन लोग जो ये सब ओरिजिनल वर्क है, फॉरेंसिक ऑडिट स्टैंडर्ड्स ओरिजिनल वर्क है, इतना जबरदस्त ब्रेन्स है. अब कभी कभी इन लोग को भी तो कदर कीजिए कि हम लोग के बीच में ये सब भी है. हाँ, अगर वो गलती करता है ना, छोड़ेंगे नहीं, इतना बोल सकते हैं, एकदम छोड़ेंगे नहीं.
Can I move next?
Yes.
Just a minute.
Mane, you are talking about, acha, then again I come back to details I had given you. Acha, let me just come back to details. For 15 years I gave the details. There were 5873 cases. Acha, bad. Oh, what was the details?
No, one day.
हाँ.
And then for lifetime, we have removed almost 8 for lifetime, and almost 5 is also there.
I'll give you. यहाँ में कहाँ
More than 800 name removals for more than 1 month to up to 5 years.
वो जो data जो है, I'm just give me 1 minute. I'm just trying to find out where the data is. अच्छा, anyway, if you recall, you just say.
I'm just double checking because you quote me. I'll just
Because yeah, that's why we are double checking, because you will quote. So we are just trying to. You want that number of cases which you have held this thing, na? We actually got these details. 1 minute. Acha, can we move? I'll give you this. I will just move. I'll give you this because this
we'll
one
flag and
we
we'll
got
move
these
next.
details. I will give you this.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can I?
Sir, 1 by 1 चल रहे थे. अगर बुरा ना माने, I
No,
can
no,
continue.
since you intervened and said that
53 removal with
No.
there is a possibility that we won't get a chance.
Okay, all right.
No,
All
no.
right.
You will get the chance. We
Can
are
I
here.
just take
Virtual
it?
I was.
By the time you go all over India
No,
and
no.
come to us, right?
No, we are here.
No. I'll just take his question at first.
Having come here so far, we don't want to go disappointed.
I will only sit with you whatever time you require. All right, but before, otherwise, reprimand with and without fine, total 313 cases. 313 cases, total cases. 13. This is from 2007 to December 2021.
These are the members removed from the register.
They have been reprimanded, not removed, reprimanded. Reprimanded is 313 reprimanded. Membership removal up to 6 months, 153. Membership removal from 6 months to 1 year, 57. Membership removal from 1 year to 5 years, 48. Membership removal for more than 5 years, 2. Monetary penalty, 59. So these are the details. Now I know you'll ask me that. Even if that fellow is removed for 1 day, his career is gone. You know that his career is gone even if he is removed for 1 day, because all the seniority that he has attained goes for 0.
So,
He can practice, but then you see, he will practice as a fresher.
So I'll just rephrase this question, right? Going by the data that you have shared, do you think the Sir, just complete my thought. Do you think the extent of penalty levied on your member is proportionate to the nature of misconduct? It doesn't seem so, right? Even if I have signed a balance sheet of 10,000 crores, I'll get a penalty of 5 lakhs. And even if I have done a misdeed of 1 crore, I still get a penalty of 5 lakhs. So there's something wrong with the legislative intent, right?
I think so. That's why they are enhancing the penalty in the bill. They are, I think, doubling the penalty. Right. So they are enhancing the penalty in the bill. So that is right. But please note, since both of you are concerned with the punishment that in most cases, they go to the appellate tribunal. The appellate tribunal does not, or they go to the high court. It does not enhance the penalty that we give. They only say reduce the penalty. They do not enhance the penalty that we give.
That's fine, sir. But
just to add on statistics, just to correct on the statistics, I'll just accurately, because if it gets reported, President sir mentioned membership removal more than 5 years too, and membership permanent removal is 7. So there are 7 more which need to be noted. And just if
yes,
I can add,
please carry on.
See, it doesn't have to be a permanent removal of name. To set an example, like sir mentioned, even if somebody is removed for a week, please try and understand this is professional reputation. It gets published, it gets covered in newspapers. If I can just give you a comparison or illustration, you compare a white sari, his entire professional life is a white sari and a small blot of ink. Even that is one. Whenever you see that sari, you will not look at the whole white sari. You will see you have a blot of ink. This even removal for a week, and with a lot of humility, with a lot of pride, we can say, show us one other profession which has this kind of disciplinary mechanism functioning. Sir, what the President has given you statistics, if you add them up, 800 plus punishments. Sir, it's not a small number. That's all. I'm trying to give you the other side of the picture, sitting from this side. That's all. So, just wanted to correct the statistics.
Yes.
Yeah. True. So what I'm asking is something beyond it, right? You are making this reference under the umbrella of the CA Act and the regulations. What I'm saying is there is a need for a complete rethink on the legislation itself in tune with the current times, right? Because the kind of penalty, even if you double it through an amendment, is disproportionately low when compared to the kind of misdemeanors and misconduct we see in society.
It is not only
and add to it, you as CA members know very well the system, and it invariably gets challenged in the Indian legal system, for which it takes years for any justice to be handed out. So net, the society has a huge trust deficit on the membership, and that trust deficit is not getting filled up because of the legal system that we have.
2 points I would just like to immediately contest. You said, again, you are trying to paint everybody with the same brush. You are saying that the society has a trust deficit on the membership. Not right. Not right. You see, you are making a general statement, not right. There might be some errant members on whom the society might have trust deficit. But there are hundreds and thousands of members who are good. Otherwise, how can we have a situation where we are required to do audit under the Companies Act? Why should the government give this? Why are you required to do bank audit? Why are we required to do tax audit? Because they feel that there is some kind of a benefit by by trusting the chartered accountants. Now, when you say that to what extent the penalty that is there, the penalty should be enhanced, and is there a case for enhancement of penalty? The amount of penalty that you are talking about, I think you are more interested in amount of penalty. We are saying you remove his name for a month, he's gone. The example that he has given, he's gone, his career is gone. The word spreads. You might have seen in the WhatsApp group now one penalty there, say about that penalty, is that institute has taken action. He is gone. So that's how it is. You see, once I do that, his career is gone. His career is gone. That's how it is.
So, in your presidency, right, I just want to understand what is the correct metric on which I should judge the efficacy of your disciplinary system in your presidency. Should I go by the swiftness in which disciplinary cases are sorted out, or should I go by the number of cases that you sort them out? What is the right metric to judge your disciplinary mechanism?
You see, I think swiftness is one, because that is a criticism that comes to us, that you take a lot of time. And the new CA bill, it tries to, just like in the case of insolvency, it tries to give a timeline for everything. And let me tell you, we have not objected to that timeline. We have not. We have not objected. We said, you give a timeline, we are in agreement. Because we believe that swiftness is very important. That's whatever you are saying. Right? Number of cases, certainly yes. Why not? But most important, fair judgment. That is the most important thing. You see, while trying to be swift, while trying to have number of cases, we do not want to, compromise on the fairness. If somebody is guilty, we'll not leave him. But then again, not guilty guy should not be punished just because we wanted to be very swift and we wanted to go for quantity. So that's how it is. That's how it is.
Can I move next?
So can I add one more question?
Please. You are most welcome.
So the Prime Minister of this country wanted the Chartered Accountant Institute to take steps to build firms of global stature.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It's almost more than 5-6 years since he said that, right? And so can you update us on what new steps are you proposing to take to realize that dream? And secondly, the other point is, the last 1 year CA Institute has had several run-ins with NAFRA. So how do you plan to approach in your presidency the relationship with NAFRA? And do you think both sets of audit regulators can coexist?
I will take the second aspect at first. I think totally both sets of audit regulators can coexist. Let me tell you. You see, Mr. Gupta, who was the part-time chairman at that time, we went and met him. And we said that, look, you are a regulator, we are a regulator, and we think that both of us can coexist. That is our, our viewpoint on this. The first one, I forget the first one that you said?
Building Indian audit firms.
All right. First one, you need not continue. Today, what has happened is this, we are trying to see that the capacity of the firms are enhanced. For that, we have developed the network guidelines. That is, 4 firms, 5 firms can get together and form a network. And we are pushing for this networks to happen. Right? That's number one. Number two, the institute has been a strong votary of multidisciplinary partnerships. A chartered accountant, a cost accountant, a company secretary, an engineer, and an actuary can get together and form a multidisciplinary partnership. And even in that partnership, if more than 50% are chartered accountants, then they can even do the attest function. So that's what we are trying to do. These are the areas. MDP, you follow all this very well. MDP, we have been a votary of this, and we have been strongly going for this. We feel that is one of the, formats of the future. And network guidelines, you must note today, not only the big 10 or big 15 that you're talking about, even our, 70% of our firms are, small and medium category. We are trying to push them towards networking so that, if the network, first 1 or 2 years, if they get the benefit of network, then maybe they will merge together and form big partnerships. So that's what we are trying to do. We are extremely concerned. I thank you for the question that you have asked. We are extremely concerned about this, and we will do everything possible.
So is there a visibility on the time period that this...
We'll try to do it in this year itself. In fact, I was just talking to the Vice President that, we must call a meeting of the top 20 Indian firms. I was just talking to him, and he was telling me when. I said in the month of April. So, we'll call a meeting and try to push this whole concept very, very hard. We'll push this whole concept very, very hard.
Thank you, sir. After you will come to her. She is waiting. Just a second. Yeah, can we take her question? Lady first. Yeah, please.
Hi, this is Anuradha from ET.
Yes, sir.
Coming back to the amendment, like you said, you gave a presentation, and you have couple of disagreement with the proposal. So one you have already pointed out on the 3 non-CA member. What are the other points where you feel there is a disagreement? If you can throw more light on it.
All right. Thank you for that. They are talking about the coordination committee. Now, coordination committee, they are saying that coordination committee will be consist of the president of Chartered Accountants Institute, president of Cost Accountants Institute, president of a Company Secretary Institute. It will be chaired by the Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It will be chaired by him. We have no problem. When it was discussed with us, they said, for example, the MDP that we gave the example of, MDP, Multidisciplinary Partnership. We are going very hard on it. But maybe instead of company secretaries and instead of chartered accountants, they are still developing the guidelines on this. Maybe we thought that if there is a coordination committee, then that coordination committee can do something to ensure that these kind of things are pushed hard and done, quick decisions are taken. But when the bill came into being, what we found was this, that inside the ambit of the coordination committee were areas like academics, areas like infrastructure, which we felt was totally within our own domain. And a coordination committee should only coordinate between the 3 institutes, not take decisions on how should our board of studies function, or how many buildings do I construct. Right. So you see, they should not really take decisions on these matters. So that is what we told the Parliamentary Standing Committee, that if you could kindly have a relook. We said, you want to have a coordination committee to coordinate between the three institutes, we have no objection. Till today, we'll have no objection. But if you want to go into these areas, then obviously we will not like it very much. Because, at the end of it, let me tell you, we are fiercely proud of our autonomy. We are fiercely, may quote me on this, we are fiercely proud of our autonomy. And you see, we do not want to, budge an inch as long as the autonomy is concerned. That's how it is.
Just a follow-up on that, this, what was the kind of response and this issues that you have raised with the Jensina in the meeting? So what kind of response you got? I mean, assurance or response you got?
I've been asked to keep my mouth shut.
Thank you.
Sorry, everything confidential. We were told in the standing committee, whatever discussion takes place is confidential. You will not open your mouth outside. So that's how it is. And today when I met Jensen in the morning, I told him, sir, I have kept my word. I have not opened my mouth, whatever happened inside. Right.
Hello, Katyayani from Now Bharat Times.
Yes.
As ICAI is changing the curriculum, so what type of changes are?
You see, so
if you can brief, and when the draft is going to release?
Look, the first, the first draft of the curriculum is already been approved by the council. We are laying a lot of stress on technology. We are in the curriculum. We are talking about sustainability reporting, which was not there in earlier times. We had a subject on integrated reporting, but it did not cover sustainability reporting so much. So we are talking about that. Right? So you see, we are now trying to see that the future of the profession, they do a lot of application of their knowledge. So what we are trying to see is how much open book system we can have. Right? How much open book system we can have. So that we give them, case study based questions, give them a book, and say that if you are good, if you have understood the subject well, you must be in a position to answer. So the push is towards move away from rote learning and go for the application of mind. That is what the push is towards. And know the latest that is happening around you. And the changes have been so immense. For example, in GST. If you follow GST, it changes every day. It's a dynamic legislation. When we developed the course 5 years back, GST was not so much. But today, it has really, stood the test of its time. So we feel that the more on GST has to be there as part of the course curriculum. For example, when they did the course earlier, faceless assessment was not there, income tax. We are now saying that, maybe it's time that you learnt about faceless assessment. So with the change that is taking place, we are, putting that as part of the syllabus. We are thinking that the first calling card for the chartered accountant should be his communication skills. How well does he communicate? We have been always said, the Vice President has been said, just now said, that sometimes we are a bit traditional, bit inward looking. We are trying to have this GMCS, that's the General Management and Communication Skills classes, more effective, so that in the classes, this gentleman, he knows how to really communicate well. Put forward your viewpoints. We have our own centers of excellence. We have 2 centers and we are trying to have more. We have got land in Chennai, we have got land in Cal. So we are trying to have more centers of excellence all over the country. Today, our whole articleship is based on you going to a CFR for 3 years. We are trying to see that can I put him in a center of excellence for 3 months or 4 months, where he has intensive study and intensive, classes being taken. We have also, enhanced the industrial training to 18 months. We are now saying that maybe it is time that you went more towards the industry to have training. Right? So these are the changes that we are making. And because of these changes, today 80% of our products are, taken up by the industry. So we are also pushing towards the industrial training. That's what we are doing.
And also there are two schemes right now, means old scheme and new schemes. So will you continue?
No, old scheme is already gone. From this time, old scheme is gone. There's no old scheme now. There's only new scheme. But yes, transitional provisions we have to make, because we have now, when that scheme comes, the new one comes, maybe next year it will come. Then we will have the existing one and we will have the new one. So I think we'll have to have the transitional system. For some time, the existing one will have to continue for the transitional this thing. But let me tell you, the old scheme that you are talking about, you see, the last of the exams have already taken place. From May 2022 exams, there will be only new scheme. There will not be any old scheme.
And what about the final draft? Means when
Final?
Final draft. Of
Oh,
the
final draft.
curriculum.
Okay, all right, all right. So you see, what has happened is this. Now, I think I was just looking before I came. I was just looking at the timeline, the roadmap. They were saying March 22nd, they will submit it to the government of India. Once the government of India approves this, we'll give it to the for public exposure. 45 days of public exposure. Public comments on this. They say that this change is required. For example, if you are interested, you might like to have a look at it and say that, look, I don't think so, you should do this. We will take note of that. It comes back to the council. And then we have this interaction with all the top people, educationists. We put the course before them. Right? So you see, we have interaction with all of them. Then after all that, then it comes back to the council for the final approval. The council approves it. Then it again goes back to the government, saying that this is the final one, so can we go ahead? If the government gives the green signal, we'll go ahead for the course. That's how it is.
Can I move next? Yes, sir. No,
Okay, all right. My vice president, not my vice president, the institute's vice president, despite not being from any of these regions that I'm talking about, Northeast, Jammu and Kashmir, Andaman and Nicobar, he's asking me to say about this thing. We are giving 75% concession on admission fees to students who come to study from these regions, so that most students from these so-called backward areas come and study the course, take up the course. And let me tell you, many of us might be thinking that numbers are going down. He was just now telling me that numbers are going up. The students who are taking up the course, the numbers are going up significantly. And he was just now telling me while we were coming in the car that maybe, you see, we have more reading rooms for them.
Would you be open to the idea of being the super institute, taking the other two within your wings? Because their thinking seems to be going towards merging the three.
You see, we are, it's like this. Don't mind my saying so. Sometimes it is difficult to handle one wife. You are asking me to handle three wives. Very difficult. You see, I cannot. You see, each of these institutes are very, very strong, and they are, you see, embedded with their strong ethos, strong history, strong legacy. Very difficult to do so. But the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India being so big, certainly it can take it, but let me tell you, it will totally depend on what the government of India feels. What the government of India feels.
Government of India believes in big. One India, one nation, one institute.
If I say anything more, the other two institute presidents will kill me. So I don't want to say anything more. Thank you.
Just a minute.
Right.
Secondly, I just want to ask you about this Congress. So what is the kind of budget you have promised?
Okay, all right. Okay.
Is Reliance a partner?
No, Reliance is not a partner in this. We are just taking the venue. We are still developing. Yes, we are just taking the venue. Yeah, and further, this venue has been selected by the International Federation of Accountants about 2.5 years back. They said that if you want to do it in India, this is the venue to be in. And I don't know how many of you have gone to this Geo Center.
It's just opened.
Oh, it's just opened. Yeah. It's just opened. You're right. It's just opened. We were there in Bombay. Fantastic center. Out of the world. Acoustics and everything. And regarding your other question that you see regarding that budget that you're talking about, we are still working on it. The organizing committee is meeting on the 7th of April next. And I think we shall finalize the budget on the 7th of April. Because why, now you may say that you are organizing such a big conference, you still don't have a budget, what you are doing. What has happened is this, the conference earlier was, sometimes we said it's going to be totally virtual. Then we said it's going to be physical. Because, we moved our concept depending on the corona situation. Right. So today, you see, we are making it hybrid. So with a hybrid kind of situation, we are reworking the budget altogether. We are reworking the budget altogether and trying to see. We are meeting in Bombay on the 7th of April trying to finalize the budget.
Sir, one more question.
Yeah, certainly. He is saying that should we invite them for the World Cup? 100%. We'll reach out to you. We'll reach out to you and we want to see you to see the spectacle. We want to make it a really spectacular affair.
So one question, in your opening remarks, you said in a technology-intensive audit environment, right? There is a possibility that you move away from a scenario of test checks to 100% check, right? Mm-hmm. How far are we from that situation, and what is ICAI looking at? Do we look at entire revamping of your approach to audit, because anyway technology is upon us, right?
These two gentlemen will tell you, Sanjeev Singhal and Aniket Talati, that we are not very far from that situation. Not very far from the situation. And so, these two gentlemen...
If that were to happen, then we move away from true and fairness, right?
You see, the future could be true and correct. That could be the expectation when you are doing 100% checking. So, and that is something that we are all of them are looking at. Aniket Talati, he was the FRRB chairman last time. He is now Audit and Assurance Standards Board chairman, and he is the vice president, so he looks after everything, and he's damn good in technology. So you see, he's looking into this. How far? And then it is totally a mind shift. From true and fair to true and correct is totally a mind shift. A profession which is not, is this thing. Yes.
So the big question is, will your membership agree to it?
Oh, they have to. They have to. If we don't change with the changing times, we'll be relics. Who wants to? I am so happy that he thought that we are fit enough to be, 3 institutes together, that the institute has the, I think he used the term rich also, which I did not comment on. You used very rich, is it? Okay, all right. But you see, we have to change. We are trying our best to change the membership. That's why they're talking about audit tools. We know that what is the change that is going to come. Otherwise, you see, you will be asking some question and we will be giving some other answer. That will happen like this. Because you all guys are also going to change. You all guys are going to get upgraded. And you will ask me questions on that high level and I will not be in a position to answer. We don't want to have such situations.
So has the council discussed this of...
Very much. And we are meeting on, the council is meeting on 24th and 25th. We are, in fact, you see, what we are going to do is, for the first time, we are going to have a strategy meet of the whole council. The future of the profession. Where are you going? What to do? How to tackle the newer challenges? Perception. Perception is a big challenge for us. You said that just now the society thinks that things are not happening well. Perception is a big challenge for us. How to, have a better perception of the profession. So we are having a strategy meeting. We'll discuss the date in this coming council meeting on May 24th and 25th of March.
So you won't discuss it on 24th, 25th, but you'll set a date on 24th.
Yeah. We'll set a date.
And I don't think that this is the last press conference. We'll have more interaction.
More interaction. Yes. This gentleman is very, very active and very experienced. So we'll have more and more interactions.
So how is this social audit standard different from sustainability standards?
Here, Sanjeev Singhal will answer. Sanjeev.
Yes. So basically, the social stock exchange is meant for the social enterprises. These could be the NGOs or these could be the for-profit social enterprises. So they will be measured against the outcome for which they have raised the funds. They will be allowed to tap the stock market. The pure NGOs will be allowed to take the zero coupon, zero principal bond. So that will be a non-repayable debt which is not carrying interest. Whereas in case of for-profit social enterprises, they'll be able to raise equity also. So here we are not talking about the entire ESG. We are talking about only the S in ESG. Whereas sustainability talks about the entire ESG, and in social audit standard, the measurement is only against the outcomes for which the funds have been raised. And these are largely aligned to the CSR schedule 7, which is there in the company.
Outcomes may not necessarily be financial, and like how would you measure them?
There's going to be two types of audit. One is a financial audit, which is done even now, and second is going to be a social audit, social impact audit. For example, in one of the state government took up a project that they want to improve the literacy rate for the girl child. So there was an outcome funder. So based on that, what has been the increase in the literacy rate? The outcome funding was given. So some kind of a quantitative measurement will be there, but yes, it will not be a financial measurement. It's going to be a non-financial measurement. So social audit standard will define the rules of the game in that manner.
We are looking forward to this. We are looking forward to this.
Thank you.
The institute has to go into newer areas. This is one. Thank you very much for.
Within this year.
They want to do it during my presidency.
Yeah, can I come here? You want to ask some question? Sir, just a minute. Yeah.
Sir, recently ICI had allowed class 12 students to provisionally register for foundation exam, and now exams have also been postponed because of the clash. And following that, inter-students have also been asking for a postponement. So has there been any conversation around, any discussions around that?
Intermediate, she's asking.
Oh, you are asking about the intermediate?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. No discussion on this. But you see, you cannot say ICI does not hear your voice. When we were told that the CBSE exams are, clashing with the foundation, we met on the 14th of March at Hyderabad, the exam committee, and we immediately decided to postpone our foundation. But intermediate, we have not had a discussion on this. I don't think so it's going to happen much.
And also Mr. Aniket had mentioned that the numbers of students who are registering for the exams have been going up. So is the provisional chance to register has added to the increased numbers, or it is just a genuine increase?
Genuine increase. It's a genuine increase. I think and he was also telling me today that many of the increases are from the tier 3 cities, tier 2 and tier 3 cities. That's from this thing. That's where the increase is coming from, right? In fact, with the tough course, and many, let me tell you now, one data that is, since I have ladies here, 23% of my membership are ladies. But more than that, 44% of our students are ladies. And most of my rank holders are ladies. Right? So we are pushing hard, but we will never ever compromise on the quality of our examination system. Those of us who follow the news items, and I think all of you do follow that, the Supreme Court very recently told another institution that follow the kind of examination system that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has. That they are having a top-class examination system.
And also, sir, about the scholarships that you mentioned, that certain students are going to get up to 75% of scholarship. So do you have like a budget for scholarship that this much money has
It
been
is a
allocated?
concession. Right. Very good. It's a concession that we are giving, 75%. It's not a scholarship. That's what the Vice President tells me. We have got a 100 crore budget for the scholarship. Right? So that's what
this is like for this 1 year, or this has been the overall?
No, this is a
budget
continuous.
Continuous 100.
Yeah. Continuous.
Can I move
Thank you very
next?
much. Very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
We are thankful that you raised question for the student. Next, anyone else?
Sir, can I?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, sir, my question is, I want to take you back to what your predecessor president said. Right? Last year, he had told us that institute will soon set up a scoring model on audit quality. So, can you update us what is
very good.
What is the situation there?
Yeah.
And second point is, do you still subscribe to his view that auditors are not bloodhounds but watchdogs?
The second one is a bit difficult, but I'll take the first one. Audit quality maturity model we have already developed. Audit quality indicators we have already developed. These are all recommendatory at this stage. We are looking at how quickly do we make it mandatory. We are trying to see how quickly we can make it mandatory, right? So we shall take a call on this as quickly as possible, because we believe that once we model and audit quality indicators, or the audit quality maturity model, we have already developed, and we'll see that how quickly we can do it, right? Regarding your second question, watchdog and bloodhound, you see, today
why I'm asking is the society expects you to be a bloodhound.
Bloodhound. Exactly. I understand that. And that is a big challenge, a perception challenge. Because when I give a true and fair, I'm basically a watchdog. Right? I'm basically a watchdog. If I have to be a bloodhound, you have to appoint me as a forensic auditor.
Yes, exactly.
So you have to appoint me as a forensic auditor. So that's how it is. And I'm very clear about this. You want me to be a bloodhound, appoint me as a forensic auditor, and I'll be a bloodhound. But if you want me to give a true and fair view, then I'm a watchdog. So that's why we are trying to bring about the distinction between forensic audit and the audit in which we give a reasonable assurance. Reasonable assurance. Reasonable assurance. That's true and fair is a reasonable assurance. True and correct is an absolute assurance. When I do a limited review, it's a limited assurance. That's the kind of assurance that I give. So you see, if you're asking me to be a bloodhound, you have to ask me to be a forensic auditor. That's what it is.
Who appoints the hound or the dog makes a difference? So most often
good. You see, at the present moment, at the present moment, let me tell you, if you are a government organization, then CAG has a role in appointing the hound or the dog. Right, the CAG has a role. If you are just a private limited company or a public limited company, which is not listed, in that case, you are appointed under the Companies Act. That's the shareholders, they appoint you. Right? And then if you are a listed company, SEBI still does not play a role in appointing you. But SEBI has a big, watchdog kind of a role about the quality that you see, about your quality. So that's how it is.
The nature of Indian companies is such that most of them are promoter dominated, and they all control the management, and they have a say in the appointment. Though you may call it shareholders are appointing, it is largely one person who is taking the call. So which is kind of affecting independence and which is creating a lot of conflict. So do you think this can be reasonably addressed in some way?
We are looking at this. I would not like to brush your question under the carpet by saying that this does not really affect independence. We are looking to what extent it affects the independence and what is the way out. Because see, the auditing profession, we are basically auditors. So if the auditing, the way we do audit, if the independence is under challenge, then we are in trouble. And the point that you have raised has been raised by many others before you. And we are looking at this, talking to the government of India, trying to see how we can address this challenge that we are talking about. Now, the government of India is saying that, look, in the case of CAG appointed companies, the government companies, maybe the qualifications are that much more. Right? So, because they feel a greater degree of freedom when they're doing the audit. But then we said that even in the case of listed companies, you see, the qualifications are there, but you have to have a committee to look at those qualifications. You have to note the qualifications. Sometimes we turn a total blind eye to the qualifications that has been given by the auditors. So if you're going to turn a blind eye to that, then it's not right. So because of that, there is a change in the format of the auditor's report, SS 700, where the qualification part, opinion part has come up top. So that once you start reading the report, you know whether it has been qualified or it has not been qualified. So that's what we are trying to do. But whatever point that you raise is a matter of discussion within us, and we are trying to see how to redress this.
Possible options
I at the present moment, I will not be in a position to tell you, right, what are the options available for this, but we are looking at it. We see one thing that we have done is this, the opinion paragraph we have put it on top so that you see anybody having a look at a report, can see whether it's a qualified report or not a qualified report. We are trying to see, and these aspects I think requires a greater discussion, but let me tell you, you have raised a right and relevant point, pertinent point. We are looking into this, how to do this, because if independence becomes under question, then we are in trouble. You are right. Huh?
Thank you. Can I move to next? Anyone is having question? Yeah.
Sir, I have one follow-up question to...
We'll have last.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sir, talking about audit independence, would you be for SEBI appointing auditors for listed companies?
For listed companies? Yes. Very difficult for me. You see, I am only the president of the institute. Now the council, if I say something and council is meeting on 24th and 25th, they will say, with what authority did you say all this? Is right? So I will not like to comment on that. Let me tell you, I will not like to comment. But let us see, as I told him, that you see, in the future we are looking at this kind. This is one of the scenario in which we are looking at. That should we tell SEBI to appoint auditors for listed companies? Right? So you see, we are looking at this. Yes, Sanjay. Yeah, yes, and as Sanjay Bhai is talking about, the MCA consultative paper that is there is also examining this aspect, that to what extent SEBI can appoint auditors of listed companies, right? So we are also looking at it. If it, you see, to us, as I said, at the end, independence is most important, right? So we shall see to what extent that is there.
Thank you. So before a formal vote by my Honorable Vice President, I would like to thank for your participation. If you like us and you find that we have talked something, do write about us. And if you have any further queries, if you have any data like some confirmation, the PR committee will provide you the details of that. And don't go without the high tea we have organized for you. Over to the Vice President for the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Sanjay Bhai. Let me first of all thank the Honorable President for sparing almost 2 hours from his very busy schedule today. Let me share with you, he has a packed schedule from early morning today, like he discussed meeting with a member of parliament and then with the disciplinary committee members. So first of all, thank you, Honorable President, sir, for giving 2 hours to the press. Special thanks to the Chairman and Vice Chairman of the Public Relations Committee, Sanjay Agarwal ji and Rohit Ruwatia ji, for organizing this press meet. I think one thing you will all agree is what the President mentioned at the beginning in terms of inward looking. I think with him taking charge as the President of ICI, it's a one big change that the Institute is trying to make, is to also come out in the open and tell you about all the initiatives and the changes that are happening at the Institute, the regulatory function that the Institute is undertaking. I think as auditors, we've always been restricted and been taught that the auditor only talks through his report, and that is his audit report, and we don't make any other comments. And I think that nature has got imbibed in each one of us being thorough auditors. I think today's world, with social media, with media scrutiny, it demands that we are more outspoken and we just don't get news or press when there is a negative event or a fraud that happens, but all the positivity that all our committees, Sanjeev Bhai's committee on auditing standards or on sustainability is doing, or the forensic accounting standards which we've come out, those are all historic landmark achievements that the Institute is doing as a partner in nation building. My only request to all of you would be, while you are covering certain other aspects, our request would be to all of you sincerely would be, please also try and cover the positive side. We are not all the same. Don't paint all chartered accountants with the same brush. We have some of the best minds in the world, not just country, who are qualified chartered accountants, and we are proud of those members. And some of those chartered accountants are also a part of our council. So yes, most of them are doing outstanding work. As the Honorable President mentioned, the direct tax collection, the budget had 12 lakh crores estimated, a 1 lakh crore extra collection of tax has happened. There are chartered accountants who are burning the midnight oil, sitting up to 12 a.m. on the 15th of the March, which is the last date of advance tax, to make sure that when we say we are partners in nation building, we already actually do that by filing tax returns, by filing advance tax challans, by filing GST returns. So a lot of good is also being done by the membership at large in support of the nation. We hope by today's interaction and future interactions also, you give us the good press that the Institute also deserves and our membership deserves. Once again, a sincere thanks to all of you for sparing your valuable time and coming here. And please join us for a high tea. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you. Thank you.